Truth before the truth. Let's see how far I can get with this one. I'm calling out all of my Scandinavians and Norsemen. What are the differences between that? The Norsemen are worldwide people who at least understand or live in the tree of life. And because the tree of life is a myth, but it no longer isn't because the dead have taken over the planet, the living dead are at the bottom of the tree and they've taken the planet. So what is the dilemma here? Why can't we figure out anything? Well, we know there's a lot of those things. But what don't all of you know, and why are you assuming against white people when all white people aren't exactly the same? We do have a North and a Southern European genetical information where it can switch back and forth when you reside in the North or you reside in the South for obvious reasons. So what is the whole world doing? They're trying to be Northern European people. I don't know if the natives made it to the same type of living, but they're trying to be like the Vikings were before they attacked. A lot more evolved, and they lived a lot longer, and they weren't angry like that. And there was battles, of course, like it's always been, when the world was pagan and all that stuff. But what is the whole world doing? They're trying to be like a Scandinavian in his cabin, sitting there doing nothing and getting raided because he won't leave his cabin. And that's what the whole world is trying to do. They're trying to live like that is the wrong guy who gets beat up and knows it eventually and defends it till the end because he's an idiot and he chose to be an idiot. So, but why? What else is everyone doing? They're all trying to party. They're all trying to party hard all day and all night. But only the northern people have done that day in and day out. And we split up in half, and there became Jotun people who were amazingly athletic, but lazy half the time, and they didn't stand their ground to stay men and women with souls, to the other realms, to the other things. So why is everyone trying to be a Jotun and a man when they're neither, and they're just kids? They're just idiots doing the same shit over and over again, and they don't get why we're trying to celebrate something, because we're a global economy and we're united. So why are they still trying to be heathens that they only see as Vikings who already accomplished that feat? We partied day in and day out. We lived and we made food. We were happy and we didn't have any blemishes from it, and we drank full kegs of ale per man and per woman, and it isn't you don't get drunk. It's a different type of thing. We're not doing anything correct. You know what I'm saying? No. So what I'm saying, if you look at your lifestyle, even if you are a Viking or a Scandinavian, you're trying to be like who I have become potentially through eating healthy only and naturalizing myself. I'm trapped in the 1800s because I can't do any of these modern things that happened since the 1900s since the 1500s that have or the 1200s in Asia that keep us down and like feeding a dog food. That's not food for a dog. It keeps them down and it keeps them idle. The salt and all that stuff. The gluten is what came from Asia. The hard gluten, the vital wheat gluten. I'm not allergic. No one's allergic to oats. It's the vital wheat gluten. Anyways, besides that, you're trying to be inflicted with all this stuff and suppress yourself so you can stay idle. But you are trying to live like partying Vikings that we depict as savage attitudes because they're all wild and shit. And then you got all the young people try to party and they go like, oh, I like that. And then all the old people try to party and they use their murderous egos and they keep taking drugs and shit. But literally they're only corpses. They're dead, and they're trying to live the same joys that are within all of our genetic memories. The only exceptions go to bushcraft people in Africa or a dojo in Japan. I mean, there is no other inspirations that people have except making money. And guess what they do? They sit there and they taunt in their tower like they're the best gnosis around, but they're sitting there watching me be a bum. They're just looking at me. They know I'm here as a bum, and they know I can rhyme about anything like an ancient runic skald in the new language of English, and they're just sitting there trying to blame me because I'm a bum and I'm inflicted with all these things as a natural man. So it's my fault. That's bullshit. They're trying to do the same thing that has already been done, and I'm not. I'm waiting for someone to put me into an opportunity before I have to take charge on my own. And what does that mean? That means what? I'm going to rap some fucking real gnosis that seems cool because it rhymes on the street, and I get some tips, and then nothing happens because everyone is inflicted with poisons and all that stuff, and they can't function correctly, and their instincts tell them to escape and be a pre-Viking age Scandinavian that made it out back from the hero ages when we used to leave the north and we used to travel the world and we used to conquer the monsters. The sea people who beat up the fucking Egypt, that's still the same thing. There was the Norse kingdom in the north during Greek, during Egypt, before that probably too, you know, until whenever they think that melting and stuff happened. You can't trust these historic people when they think we all come from Africa, or then they all think we come from white people, or wherever they think we come from. They don't have any experience or actual data. You know what I'm saying? They have some carbon bullshit. They have some this bullshit. And then they come around talking about that this is exactly what happened and they can't even function. That's ridiculous. That's why no one can trust or do anything, because they don't know exactly what the truth is. They don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to be like partying northern hero people who could drink day in and day out and be super athletic and be actual manimals that live with their soul. And we did that shit for thousands of years. It actually doesn't work out the way it feels in the end. No matter how partied up you get, you're going to run into some problems. You're going to run into more aspirations. That's why you got all these people trying to be farmers. You got probably like 3 real farmers on the whole planet, and the others are on woof, and they're just fucking raping and murdering children that come to their house. They bring in some fucking newbie kid and they bury him in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Or they have time on their property to boil them. So the people who do it in the city, we smell those corpses all day, and that's why we can't function. Anyways, besides that, why are we still trying to be like a party Viking before they attacked? I'm asking you to look at yourself and ask, what else are you actually doing? I'm talking to any celebrity. I'm talking to any elite member. They're not elitists because they have money. The elite members are the elite souls of our species. And we don't need to say gods. We can use our own mortal category of those who lived under 100 years old. If you sit there and believe that gods have lived for thousands of years and are just hanging out with us. So what are we doing? What else are we doing? What can you come up with and argue with me? Because I know this as a fact. What can you come up with? What else we're doing except trying to be like what my ancestral genetics have already done? And what I already know I can potentially do is drink kegs of ale and party it up and grow food and just fertility and fertilize everything with the fucking arrogance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it seems fun, but it isn't in the end. And you still will pass away with glory because you're giving to everything, but that's just an instinct from the past. We aren't doing that anymore. So if you can figure out anything that you're trying to do, anyone who reads this or anyone who comes or mentions this, if you can come up with anything else that isn't an opinion or an argument, that they can't clarify, that they know the exact facts of what they're talking about, and they aren't doing a bushcraft, they aren't planting trees only in the Amazon or something, or they aren't in a dojo in Asia. What else are they doing but trying to be a pre-Viking northern hero and just live all the way into some fertilized being? You know what I'm saying? Like, what other instinct are you actually following? Except those who are murdering cowards, who sit there drugged up thinking that that's what they are, but they aren't, because they're drugged and they don't know what they're doing, and they shouldn't be allowed to work. They shouldn't be allowed anywhere. They should be sitting there wondering, why are they trying to still party like a Viking and never accomplishing anything, ever?